Well, hello to all of you, and it's an exciting another webinar, and just come back. I don't know about everyone else, and Lee, awesome to have you online from Dubai. So thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
I don't know about everyone else, but it's the holiday time here, and people are out on the boat and having fun, and having braais and social occasions this evening, barbecues for some people around the world. And I have to say, I was like, oh wow, and we're doing a webinar. So anyway, for me, I would love to try and add as much value as possible tonight, and to really make this time of significant importance for you. And from my perspective, I sit here with the most magnificent view as the sun is setting. And I've also been told that load shedding, which is where they cut out all the power, is about to happen in about an hour's time. So we're going to rock and roll today. We're going to run through some information. We're going to go through it quickly. And if people have questions, if you haven't done this before, there's a little chat box. Go up into the chat box. You'll see it's in the top right corner. You can actually test it now if you want to, and you can just tell me whereabouts you are in the world, and so that we can actually see, and you just know where the chat box is and start to engage in this process. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to move fast, and we're going to interact just so that we can add as much value as possible to you. So just let me know whereabouts in the world you are, and then I know that you can hear and you can see me. And while we're doing that, I will have a quick drink of water. So I'm not seeing anyone typing. Okay, I've got Belito coming in. Let's see where we're at. Anyone else? Where are the others from? We've got the UK. Oh, hello, Ingrid. And Johannesburg. Cool. So they're coming in thick and fast now from all over the place. So I'm glad. I think I can take it that you can hear me and you can see me. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is to rock and roll. Once again, thank you very much to Lee, who's actually helped us put this all together, and in terms of looking to drive this whole process. So let's take you through tonight what are going to be 3 new changes to Wealth Migrate and how you can benefit in terms of the process. So the first thing that I just wanted to share with you is that we ran a very successful equity crowdfunding campaign out of on a platform called Cedars, which is one of the largest out of England and Europe. We won on multiple times. We were the biggest mover with the biggest raisers, and we actually raised over $2.2 million. It's actually close to $2.5 million, and now with investors, 683 investors. And what was really interesting is it came from 44 different countries. So what we're going to talk about tonight is a lot of this, because this really was people from all over the world believing in the dream, believing in the vision, believing in the possibility, and now we're turning it into a reality. What it's also showing is that we did this entire thing through digital marketing, through where the world is going, through the intersection of technology and the property or real estate industry. The other thing is that I wanted to share with you is that we built our entire global community on the saying from Zig Ziglar, and have done for the last 15 years. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So I'm going to repeat that. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And I believe it's quite important, because a lot of people want to go out there and they want stuff and they want to go and get stuff. But really the question is always, how can you add more value? And so our purpose tonight is to add as much value as possible to you, and to figure out how we can add by adding more value to you. Hopefully tonight we're also going to show you how you can add more value to others. And by adding more value to others, I believe 1 + 1 can equal 3, and ultimately you can get whatever you want in that process. There's also an interesting thing around the shift in power. In the old world, it was all about old power, and we're now in a space of new power. In the old world, in the property and the real estate industry, there were only 2 real things. There was complying by all the rules, and there was consumer. If you're getting you to buy more product or to invest in deals or buy houses, etc. But the new power is very different. It's about sharing and affiliating so that people are part of a community and growing. It's about adapting and helping and being part of the due diligence and making sure that we're bringing on trusted partners and great projects. It's about funding. We ran that equity crowdfunding with Cedars, and we raised $2.5 million. That's people physically investing in the business and becoming shareholders. It's about producing. It's about property suppliers and developers actually creating content and or even in the Wealth University, creating material that would be of value to people. And then it's about shaping. And when you look at the likes of Wikipedia, most people don't know this, but there's 19 million people that are accredited around the world, and they shape the Wikipedia community. What about how can we add value to you? So I've asked this question a lot of times, and if you've seen me before, you might know the answer to it. What is the number one radio station that is listened to all over the world? So jump on that little chat box again and let me know what you think the number one radio station is anywhere in the world. Don't all shout at once. I'm battling to concentrate. Heather Pino, well done. You win the award. So it's WIIFM, and it stands for What's in It for Me. And so it's very, very important, because whether you are listening to this consciously or whether you're listening to it subconsciously, your body, your brain is always going to be thinking to itself, what's in it for me? And so I wanted to start off tonight just with some value adds that I believe, and make sure that you've actually got access to them already, because I believe these value adds are what's in it for me. And the whole way through tonight, we're going to look at ways that we can add value to you. So the first one is the eWealth Pack. Now, if you don't have this, and I'm going to jump around a little bit, if you take the eWealth Pack, let me open it up quickly. There it is. So what is the eWealth Pack? Well, I get asked all the time, can you tell us, can you give us some tips? What books should we read? And so as a team, we put this together. We brought decades worth of research together and condensed it into a few pages. And really, we wanted to help people be able to 10x their process in terms of where it is. So, I tend to say to people that having helped investors in 60 different countries, I would have to be a bit of an idiot. We as a team would have to be a bit of an idiot if we couldn't, focus on trends. So there's a section where you can go and actually, download my book, Property Going Global. There's a micro degree on the 8 steps to wealth. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more just now. There's all the white papers. If you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate or an advanced, there's all the white papers on how we can add value. And then there's recommended reading. And this is probably one of the more valuable things. If you look behind me here, I've got loads of different books. And I've been reading, basically since I left school, non-fiction and business books. And so people always ask me, can you recommend good books? And so what we tried to do was go through the bookcase behind me, and also to go through an app called Audible, which I highly recommend, where for those of you who don't like reading like me, you can actually listen to it when you're driving or running or doing something outdoors. Anyway, this is not a perfect list. It's just a list of books that I believe have added a lot of value in my life and certainly to others. So there's books around the mind, there's life, there's goals, there's real estate. There's all Dr. Dolph DeRosa's different books and courses that have been broken up into beginner, intermediate, and advanced. There's investment, there's business, there's leadership, there's sales, and there's biographies. Then there's 9 different blog posts. Now, obviously, we've got a huge amount of material out there on the internet, but these are some of the most important ones. There's the different websites. If you want to go to them, there's different life hacks. I spoke about Audible now. And, I love that word, life hack. Why go around the world and try and figure out how to do everything yourself when you can just hack it and learn from others? And then there's different courses that myself and my wife have done that we think is of tremendous value. So if you don't have this, just type in there eWealth Pack, and we'll make sure that we get that to you in terms of adding value. Then we've got the investor test. Now, this is a test which we built. It's based on nature's principles. It's based on the I Ching, which is thousands of years worth of Chinese wisdom, and it's also based on the fundamentals of property, or real estate, investing, and wealth. And for the purposes of tonight, I don't really have the time, but there's 5 different areas. You've got your what, you've got your how, you've got your who, you've got your when, and you've got your why. And ultimately, it creates your whole investment quotient. Now, what's important is that when you do your test, it'll actually give you an investor report. And you can go into this report. It'll give you your whole different personal report. And ultimately, it helps you create a personalized path to wealth. So whether you're a beginner or whether you're one of the most sophisticated investors in the world, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, there's the 5 pillars to wealth, and depending on where you score, it'll actually help you know where you are and where you want to get to. It's like a GPS. When you get in a car with a GPS, the first thing it does is figure out where it is. Then you put in where you want to get to, and it helps you create a plan. And this is how you can create your own personalized path to wealth. If you haven't done the investor test, I recommend it. Then we've got the 8 steps to wealth micro degree. Again, I've spoken all over the world. I've got generally about a 3-hour presentation. We turned that into a micro degree. It's the 8 steps to wealth, and it's actually free. I mean, you can go online and get access to it. If you go into Udemy, it's actually on. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is my back end system. But anyway, it's on Udemy. It's called the 8 steps to wealth, and then equally you can go in and it's on Genius U. And I'll just put this quickly in the chat box for you. And you can actually go and do it. And it's free. So, anyone that wants, to get access to the latest knowledge, for me, there's no excuses really anymore because it's free. You can literally get it, on the internet in terms of where it is. Just by the way, the investor test is there as well. And if I click through here, there's the investor test, and I'll just put that. I'm putting them both in the chat box. And for those of you watching the recording after, you'll just have to look at the screenshot up above. In terms of where we are. Always better to be live, get so much more value. So just in terms of the communication, we did have a whole bunch of groups around digital real estate, exponential technology, cryptocurrencies, and we're now bringing that all together in a much more professional way, and we're going to be running that through our inner circle, which I'll talk a little bit about just now. And then we got our events where we do our Wealth Partner Meetups. So our Wealth Partner Meetups are for our shareholders only. We've got our Wealth Weekend, again, for our shareholders. We've got our Wealth Awards, which is, people that have made the biggest moves in the community over the last year. And then we've got our Wealth Movement events, which is really how, they're the one major event that we have where we bring all these incredible speakers. People can learn together, they can grow together, and they can be around like-minded people in terms of where the process is. So the question was tonight, 3 ways that we could add tremendous value to you. And we speak a lot, and if you've heard us speak recently, we've spoken a lot about becoming the Amazon of real estate. Now, when we think of Amazon, what does Amazon actually do? What makes Amazon different from a traditional retailer? And there's a number of things that are important. The first thing is that Amazon is a marketplace. And so it's got a whole bunch of suppliers and businesses that are on the marketplace. What's also important when people look at Amazon, it's got tremendous trust. It's got transparency. It's basically cut out the middleman. It's cut the costs, and it's increased that trust, that transparency, and that accessibility. And so, when you look at Amazon and you look at the value of the marketplace and condition, in comparison with traditional stores, when I ask you to think about property or real estate or investing or wealth, do you think that it's going to remain the same as these old traditional stores, or do you think it's going to go towards a marketplace when it comes to technology? When you look at Amazon, it's got multiple different revenue streams. And this is really important, because in a marketplace, you need to have different value adds that are going to appeal to different people. And you can see here that there's an infographic. I purposely put that here because I just wanted to share with you this infographic quickly. And if I go through it, here's the infographic here. Again, I'll put it in the chat box. But it's basically, how does Amazon make money? So there you can see the slide that we put up. It's rapid growth. Why is it so successful? Ultimately, it's because it focuses on its customers, which is what tonight is all about. How can we focus on you? How can we add more value to you? How can we help you start to generate first world incomes and to become a global citizen? It's focused on growth, and then ultimately the breakdown, the net revenue streams, etc. So I'm going to put this into the chat box as well, and you should be able to get access to this. What has this got to do with property? Well, for us, our ecosystem is a really interesting one. Most people know us from a Wealth Migrate perspective as a platform that helps professionals and high net worth individuals. You can see I've been on airplanes in the last 2 days. My body's starting to fall apart. But Wealth Migrate ultimately helps middle income people, professionals, high net worth individuals invest in quality deals in the international space. What we're going to talk about tonight is also the Wealth University. We fundamentally believe that education is one of the most important things in helping people not only build their own self-confidence, but their knowledge to be able to take action. Then we've got the Wealth Movement, which is around live events. It's the gathering and bringing together of like-minded people. And then one day we will bring out the Wealth Create, which is our vision of how we can actually change, the world and solve the greatest challenge on the planet. Now, I know, Lee, I've given you the link, and for the purposes of time, I'm not going to play this video. It's a 5-minute long video. If you wouldn't mind, Lee, just putting it in the chat box for everyone. And I will play the video later this evening after 8 o'clock if people want me to. So just ask me later. But this video is a video that we've built over the last couple of years that really epitomizes our ecosystem and how these different parts of the business fit together and why they're so important and why one cannot survive without the other and actually why one enhances the other so dramatically. So let's start off with the first one. And this is a visual representation for us of the global real estate marketplace. And the first space that we started in, you can see it's in green, was invest. And so when one looks at Wealth Migrate, it's a very simple business concept. You've got trusted partners around the world. You've got someone like Crestwood Property Solutions that is a great turnkey supplier that is based in London, and they bring properties in London, and ultimately you and me get access to those properties to be able to invest. And in 4 simple steps, we can sign up and view the deals, we can select the investment, we can transact online, and we can manage our portfolio all in one place. And tonight, hopefully everyone that's on this webinar already understands that they can get access to investing in England, Australia, America with really quality partners in quality deals. And it's all around the word trust. However, what we want to share tonight is 3 new massive value adds to you. So the next one is education. And you can see it's in orange there because it's underway, and that's why we're launching it. And when you look at this slide, it's quite important. You can see that there's been massive adoption of online learning, whether it's Stanford or Khan Academy or Udemy, Udacity, etc. When one looks at online investing, there's been large growth, but there hasn't been large adoption, mass adoption. And the way to solve that, we believe, is through education. We believe that ultimately the education will build the trust, and that the trust will ultimately allow people the confidence to be able to invest. Now, most of you, many of you, will actually be on this webinar tonight because of different education things we've done over the last, and interesting enough, it was our business's 15th year birthday on Sunday. So we've been helping people for 15 years invest in property and all the education side of it. And so we believe that this education, and the metaphor I like to give to people, is it's like a hot air balloon. The Wealth University will be the hot air balloon that will, really entice and grow the community. And Wealth Migrate will be the basket at the bottom where people can actually execute once they've got that self-belief, that knowledge, and basically the confidence to execute. And so it's with a huge amount of excitement that we're actually launching the wealthuniversity.org. And I can actually go here quickly to the website. So if you go to the website, you can see I'm jumping around on purpose. So if you go to the wealthuniversity.org, you can see the website is live. You can watch our little video around the Wealth University, and you can read all about it. You can go and read what it's all about. You can see all the different courses we've got, which I'm going to talk a little bit about now, between the Inner Circle and the Real Estate Mastermind, what you'll get, getting access to brochures. Just in my interest while we're here, and Lee's been one of the amazing drivers behind this, we can go to the events, and you can actually go online and you can see all the different events that are taking place. There's tonight's webinar in terms of, I'm not quite sure, it says Ann Wilson, but anyway, we've got the launch of the Wealth University, which is next, Tuesday. If you want to be part of the Wealth University launch next week, I mean, we're giving you a heads up tonight, but we're actually launching it next week, Tuesday. Next week, Thursday, we also are launching the concept of how you can build $1 million business within our business. It's a business within a business, and we'll be going through that next Thursday, the 28th of March. Anyway, you can see our different events, whether it's digital real estate, whether it's the inner circle, and these will be, the different groups that we're going to talk through now in terms of that process. So if you want to look at the links, and maybe Lee, if you can just put those links directly into the chat box. We've got the overall is wealthuniversity.org. If you take the inner circle, it's wealthuniversity.org/inner circle. And we're going to talk about the digital real estate mastermind. Now, what's the value in terms of the university at large? Well, it's exposure to global experts. No matter where you live in the world, if you live in China, if you live in India, if you live in America, you live in South Africa, it's irrelevant. You've got to get access to the best thought knowledge leaders around the world. And when it comes to the Wealth University, think of it like the TED Talks of wealth. So if you think of TED Talks, there's massive curation. Only people with significant track records can actually participate. And when it comes to the only problem with TED Talks in our mind is that there's lots of information out there, and this is only about the wealth space. You get to share, learn, and grow all in one location. It's very low cost, a combination between free and low cost, and then it's interactive, Q&A. So again, I believe this is very important. I'm going to talk a lot about this, and then most importantly, it's about staying relevant and up to date. I have an honors degree and a master's degree, cum laude, both of them in my undergrad and in my master's in technology. My undergrad was a BSc, and then my master's was in construction technology. Now, I graduated in 2001, and what I learned then is embarrassing now in terms of where technology is. So, going and doing a degree or whatever in comparison with learning from people that are actually on the front line doing it is going to help you stay a lot more relevant. So let's look quickly at some of these. Let's look at the Wealth Inner Circle. What is the Wealth Inner Circle all about? And I want to take you through some detail here quickly in terms of the Wealth Inner Circle. So if you go through it, you can go to the page. Lee has already posted. I can see it's in the chat box there, the Wealth Inner Circle. And basically, I believe there's 5 reasons you want to be part of the Wealth Inner Circle. The first one is to join a global community. There's that great saying of the 5 different monkeys, and you're only as good as the 5 people you hang around with most. Now, most of us don't have the ability to play and spend time with global people. I always try and say to myself, I always want to be the poorest, dumbest person in the world. You can see behind me here, I've got pictures with myself and Richard Branson. I've actually got my cap up there from Necker Island. You can see I've had the privilege of spending 2 weeks on Necker Island with Richard Branson. And why do I do that? Why do I put myself in the place where I'm the dumbest, stupidest person? Well, you can only grow. You can only learn. It's about being around the people that you associate with and getting better. The second is learning while doing. The 20th century was all about going out and getting a degree or finding a coach or doing a course. And then only once you got all the information, supposedly going and doing it. I don't agree with that. I think the 21st century is all about learning while doing. And this has been put together so that people can learn while doing in terms of the process. The third is learning from mentors. I get asked all the time, can you coach me? Can you mentor me? And the answer is no. I can't coach you one-to-one. I don't have the time. My value to you is not to do the one-to-one. But certainly what we are doing is that in the inner circle is that we're doing it together. And we're also getting some of the best in the world. We've had someone on the mind in January. We had Ann Wilson all around the stock market in March. In February, we had all around purpose and profit and how to live a life of meaning and destiny. And I can't believe that there'd be one person that'd be on this webinar that wouldn't find that interesting. So our job is to go out there and find the best in the world and help you mentor. Then the fourth one is to save time. I learned this from Roger Hamilton. I've been coaching with him since 2012. Just back to the coaching thing. Is it any wonder that Tiger Woods or Manchester United or the All Blacks or any other great team in the world or individual has a coach? And the question I've got for you is, why don't you have a coach? Because if you want to be the best in the world, why don't you have a coach? Or why don't your kids have a coach? And this is what we're doing. I come back to the fourth reason, which is saving time. One of the things I love about the coaching I do with Roger Hamilton is he scours the world for information. and every month I meet with him for 2 hours, and he just compresses time for me. It saves time, and we plan to do the same thing. Getting you access to the latest information, the latest projects, to meet the partners, etc. And then the last one, which is one that I find fascinating, is that most people don't have the self-belief. A lot of people don't believe that wealth is even possible for them. And so this is about inspiration. This is about learning from others. This is about being part of a like-minded community and winning together in that process. So you can go online, you can read all about it, you can see what else is included. There's some pet projects that I love here, which is like Motivation Monday, which is where we give you a motivational quote every Monday morning. We got Wealth Insights every Friday. Basically, every Friday we come out with a short 3, 4, 5 minute video on one key thing that you can learn from wealthy people. We've got access to the WhatsApp groups. We've got Digital Real Estate Mastermind, which is all about real estate, global real estate, and digital. We've got Exponential Technology, which is all around how technologies are changing. We've even got cryptocurrency and everything that's happening in the crypto and blockchain space. And then including that, we'll also have a webinar every month. We will have a 2-hour webinar where I will interview different experts in their fields so that you're getting access to knowledge. I'll also every month be sharing my own input, my own learnings, and everything else. And you can go and read the rest that is all here in terms of where we are. So that's the inner circle. Oh, wait, the one thing I didn't show you there, 2 seconds. Back, beep, 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 beep. I'm like a truck reversing. Is that if you go down the bottom here, you can see that the inner circle is a total of $250 a year and or $25 a month to make it affordable for people. So again, for us, this is the tipping point. This is how we grow the community and add as much value to people as possible in terms of the process. Then for people that want to go further, people that want to play at the intersection of technology and property, if you're a estate agent or a property developer or a property investor or anyone that's got anything to do with the property industry, a lawyer, an accountant, or anyone in that space, or you're just someone that enjoys technology and the property industry, then that's what we've created, the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. If I go back to the page on the Digital Real Estate Mastermind, and again, Lee has shared the link with you. You can see here there's a video on both of them just to explain it. But what is this all about? Well, for us, it's really simple. It's about bringing 6 global authorities together. So you've got blockchain, you've got exponential technologies, you've got digital currency, you've got future trends, and you've got global property. And why this is important is there's plenty of masterminds that are out there. There's plenty of learning places that you can go and learn about these individual technologies. But there's not one place in the world where it all comes together in the property space. And so what we'll be doing is that we've already got six global authorities on board. Every month they'll be making a short 5 to 8 minute video where they'll be updating you on the latest trends in technology and how that relates to the property industry, the latest future trends in X, Y, and Z, and how that relates to the property or real estate industry. And so think of it again like the TED Talks, condensed time. Then once a month we will do a webinar where again we'll go deeper. I'll go deeper with one expert into their area of expertise so that you get to understand it, you get to learn it. There's global conferences, there's exclusive meetups, there's a private membership library where we can upload. I get access. Just got invited today in London to one of the top blockchain networking associations that exist. I obviously come across great material, so did the other global authorities, and we'll be sharing that and putting it into the digital libraries in terms of where we are. And then obviously there's private groups on which people can communicate and share in terms of where we're at. Then just to my interest, if you go through here, you can read all about a mastermind. You can understand the power of a mastermind. You can see all the things that you'll get in this mastermind. And then you can also see who it's for. And then the different speakers are all here. So, I mean, we've got some of the best in the world. Paul Nieder is, he ran the oldest equity crowdfunding platform in the world and is one of the leading experts in crowdfunding and fintech and blockchain. You've got David Orban, that's actually a lecturer at Singularity University and one of the most incredible guys in the whole exponential technology space. You've got Roger Hamilton, that is known as a futurist around the world. He's got published New York Times bestsellers in the space. You've got Willem van der Post, that was an ex-partner of Deloitte's in the space, and really, for business owners and for people that want to stay at the intersection of technology and property, this is an absolute no-brainer. It's $999 a year or $99 a month. In simple terms, this money is actually going towards those authorities to pay them to give us value so that we can stay at the tipping point, the intersection point of how technology is disrupting the $217 trillion real estate industry and the opportunity that it presents. And I tend to say, if as I said, if you're in the property industry or you love the property industry, and if you believe that technology is going to change this industry, you cannot afford not to be part of the digital real estate mastermind. Then in terms of the global real estate mastermind, I've been a little bit slack here because I was hoping to get this going in January this year, and certainly want to get it going over the next month or two, where ultimately 10 people will be personally invited to join me. Some people have already joined up, and we're going to walk on a journey in 2019 to really do the 8 steps to wealth through real estate. And it's all about actually executing and holding ourselves accountable. Because again, knowledge is great, but it doesn't really change. People think knowledge is power. It's not. That's not the truth. I heard this from Hunter Strayer many years ago. Applied knowledge is power. And so again, that's not something you can sign up for yet, but it's coming. And then the one that I'm most excited about, or very excited about, it's very exclusive. But Hilda Lunderstedt is going to be running our growth wealth. Geez, I've been up since 6 a.m. this morning. Our global wealth mastermind, and this will be our most premium product. It'll only be for 10 people, and Hilda's an incredible lady. She's built a business and sold it for hundreds of millions. She's invested in multiple companies all over the world. She's invested in property all over the world. She's recently immigrated to America and has been there now just short of a year. And one of the most highly profiled women when it comes to women in business, women in wealth, etc., has won numerous different awards. And she's going to be taking people on a journey. And I don't know, Lee, if you've actually seen the proposal that Hilda sent through, but just even the rough draft format, like, just blew me away of what she's thinking of doing over the next 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just having her in the room is a major scoop for us. And not only will she be running that, but also in our inner circle, we have been honored enough to have her as our guest speaker for April. So she's going to be giving us some of her insights there, which is really exciting.
So if you can't afford or are not invited to the premium product, then the inner circle, we obviously we want to add as much value as possible. And yeah, that's interesting to know. So she's actually our speaker in April, which I'm really looking forward to being. I just spent a day with her in Austin, in Texas, and it's incredible what you learn. So we said we've got 3 great opportunities for you tonight. So we've been through the first one, which is the Wealth University and all the ways that you can learn and grow. And I remind you, it might not just be for you. It might be for someone you know. It might be for someone you care about. It might be for your children. At the end of the day, we're living in an incredible world now. Just today, as I was walking through the airport, there was an advertising sign, and it said, "We live in uncertain times. Soon, the work that we do might not work." Does that make sense, Lee?
That is flipping amazing. You should have taken that. We should hand it out at every time. It should be tattooed on our foreheads, because by 2025, most of the jobs that we know now are not going to be around there. It's going to be very interesting.
I completely agree with you. And again, I don't have time tonight, and I'll just mention it. I did a webinar at the end of January, and if people want it, just call it the $217 trillion opportunity. And we spoke about the 8 different trends in technology and the 8 different trends in society, and how they're all intersecting, and how it basically presents $1 trillion opportunity between 2020 and 2025, and how you can actually participate in it. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I just remembered what I saw at the airport. So the second opportunity is all around service, and we basically call it our directory. And we akin it to a website called House. So let me go in and show you House. You can see I like to jump around. I don't like PowerPoints. For me, PowerPoints are for people that have rote presentations. So anyway, House is a website or a platform that has been designed for people that want to do renovations. And ultimately, it brings everyone together. It brings all the different professionals. It brings stories. It brings community. And we're basically saying, when it comes to the property industry, why does something like this not already exist? Why could we not bring all the right professionals? We get asked all the time, can you recommend a lawyer in London? Can you recommend a tax advisor in America? Can you recommend a good property developer in Cape Town? Can you recommend a good blah blah in wherever? And so we basically said, well, why don't we help build a directory of trusted partners and bring them onto our platform? And so we call it our directory, and it's to enable service-based businesses anywhere in the world an opportunity to list on the trusted global real estate marketplace. Now, I want to be very clear here of the word trust. This is not a yellow pages. This is only for companies and that already have a track record and that can be trusted. And it's really, really important. And the value for the business, why would they want to be on the trusted global real estate marketplace? Well, they get global exposure, they get more clients, they get incredible business networks, they get access to all the learnings that we just discussed, like the digital real estate mastermind, so that they can understand it and they can future-proof their business, and they get access to all the different groups and communities. Now, if you're here and you're in the property industry, or you think of someone that's in the property industry and you want to share this with them, we've got two brochures. One is, are you going to be part of the digital future of real estate? And there's a whole breakdown around why it is so critically important. 84% of companies fail at digital transformation, but now is the time to be able to participate. And we've got a brochure taking people through it. And then we've got a second brochure, not only just around why they should be digital, but also what it means to them to be on the global real estate marketplace, and what's in it for them. Again, remember the number one radio station, all the different types of people that or companies. So if you know someone that is a commercial real estate agent or a developer or immigration agent or a good lawyer or etc., we want to know about them because we want to build them into the trusted global real estate marketplace. And then all the different value adds, there's I'm not going to talk them through, but there's so many ways that we can add value to them. Not only onboarding them into the digital future, but helping them grow their grow their profits, social proof their business, digitize their business, etc., etc., etc. And the one thing that I think is really important is that when it comes to property, we believe that it'll always be a localized business. Till the day we die, no matter how good property gets, it'll always be a localized business. But where the opportunity lies is bringing a trusted global real estate marketplace, using technology to link all the trusted local partners into a global trusted marketplace. And that is ultimately what we're doing. And so if you know people that you think, that should be on this marketplace, or businesses, please put them in contact with us. Lee will chuck her email into the chat box. Most of you have got my contact details already, and let us know, because we want to be working with trusted partners. It's not just Joe Soap, someone you heard of at or whatever. It's someone you've worked with, someone who you could vouch for, because we want trusted partners with track records that ultimately can really enhance and add value to the global real estate marketplace. And in turn, we will add value by giving them a global digital footprint. And then the third thing, we said there were three things tonight, is how to build a business within a business. Now, we've said to you that next Tuesday we're launching the Wealth University. I'd highly recommend you come along to that. We've got some great discounts and giveaways to do next Tuesday. And then next Thursday, we've got our webinar on how to build a business within a business. And our aim is to find the first person that can build $1 million business, their own business, within our business. Now think of Amazon. That's exactly what Amazon is. Amazon does not run every business. There's businesses within businesses where they are all winning together. And we're looking for people. The old world was all about divided and hierarchy. The new world is all about connected and businesses within businesses and everyone winning together. And so, if you know someone that you think could be added to the directory, or ultimately if you want to refer people to the Wealth University or to the Inner Circle or to the Digital Real Estate Mastermind, we've actually built a whole affiliate and channel partner system where you'll earn 25% of anything that the platform earns. And that's the minimum. It can go up depending on what else you actually do in creating your business within a business. So why is this important? Well, referral marketing is one of the main contributors to revenue when one looks at Amazon. Amazon further scaled their marketplace by creating a simple way people could build a business within a business where people could earn money for referring other people to their site who actually buy. And it's, why is it important for businesses? Well, it's global exposure. It's getting more clients. It's increasing their business networks. It's, again, access to all our different digital products. And most importantly, it's being part of a global community. And so, you get to ask yourself the question, do you want to become a global citizen? And when we look at it, when you look at the trends around the world, and this is actually research done by Wolfgang Digital that just came out in the last month. And if you look at the ways that all the different online ways are working in terms of earning revenue, you can see that referral is higher than display, it's higher than social media, it's higher than email, it's even higher than direct marketing. It's on or about paid search. So paid search is probably just above it, and then it's below organic. And then if you look at this other piece of research, which is from IRP Commerce, paid search again is number one, and number two is affiliate marketing in terms of the whole process. So that's why we're doing it, because we want to add value to you so that you can add value to others so that you can become a global citizen. And the question I've got, and this is a very new slide, Lee, you haven't seen this slide. What are you doing in 2019 to become a global citizen? I'm asking the question for everybody, and I'm keeping my mouth shut on purpose. What are you doing? Are you just trying to earn more money? Are you working harder in your business? Or do you have a specific plan on how to become a global citizen? Are you, doing courses like the ones being offered at the Wealth University? Are you building a business within a business where you're building first world income with first world assets? And my question to you is, what are you doing to be a global citizen? I can tell you what I'm doing. I can tell you what we're doing as a company. I can tell you what Lee is talking about tonight, and all the different things that we're trying to offer so that people can become global citizens. And if nothing else from tonight's webinar or today's webinar or whatever time you listen to it in the recordings webinar, the question I want you to think about is, I want you to ponder on this. What are you doing to become a global citizen? And before I go any further, I'd like you to take a minute and write down, what is a global citizen? There's Scott just talking about a global citizen. He's got a lovely graphic up, hashtag global citizen. But what is it? What does it mean to you? If we were in a live room now, I'd ask for a show of hands, and I'd ask people for opinions. So if you've got any opinions, please type them. Let me know what you think a global citizen is. I can see lots of people asking for, while I'm looking at, people are asking for the different things like the Wealth Pack and the links and everything. So Lee, we are putting them in the chat box, and we will follow up with an email with access to all the different things. Someone's asking, as part of the Inner Circle, do we get access to the Wealth University? It's actually the other way around, Sandra. The Inner Circle is part of the Wealth University. Okay, Michael Honeysett is online tonight. Michael, been a long time since we spoke. I think about 24 hours. But what Michael's saying is, earn first world money and live anywhere in the world. Now, what's really interesting? Does anyone else have any things around what it does mean to be a global citizen? Because I believe that's right. I also believe that the definition of a global citizen is personal. Everyone gets to probably choose what a global citizen is. And one of the things that I certainly look at, and again, this is my opinion, it's not right, is that I believe that you need to have a passive income in first world currency. You have to have multiple income streams in a first world currency, which equal a threshold of the amount of money that you believe you want to be able to live, where you've got the freedom to make any decisions you want in your life. So, at a minimum, for me as an example, that would be 15,000 US dollars, which would give me the freedom to live in America or England or Australia. I wouldn't live like a rock star, please, please understand that. But I would have the freedom to make all those decisions and to do what I want. And that would be the bottom end of the scale, but that would be the starting point of, of being able to be that global citizen, having that passive income in a first world currency, so I'm not susceptible to fluctuations of emerging world currencies. And on top of that, it needs to be multiple income streams. And if you've missed the word I've said, passive is the most important part. And everything that we've shared tonight is actually certainly on the business side and the business within the business. It's all passive, in terms of people being able to build passive income. So Kagiso said, due to globalization, the world has become a global village. We can decide where we want to be part of the global villages by being global citizens. Exactly. Sandra said to be part of a global community through groups like these. So, yep, Sandra, that's very much so. And the intention of this global community is to keep helping people grow and become global citizens. I was very fortunate at a young age. I think with my Zimbabwe background, my parents sort of said, you go travel the world. And at 21, I left for London. And ever since then, I've been living, working, and growing businesses and investing overseas. I basically invested my first property when I was 22, my first property in London when I was 24. And the only reason I tell you this is that this is all around the genre of being a global citizen. Lee's been living in Dubai now. How many years, Lee?
Just on 10.
Yeah. There's another classic example of a global citizen in terms of where we are. So I want to finish off, and I see I've got 10 minutes until now. Please understand, I choose to live in South Africa, although load shedding is starting to test my patience. Although being out on the boat today and everything else reminds me of why I love living here so much. But I don't have to. I'm a global citizen. I've got a global business. I've got global assets with a global income. And that's what, for me, it's all about being a global citizen. However, saying that, in 10 minutes my electricity is going to go off, and so and then the backup generators and everything going to kick in. So I just want to make sure that we get finished and we can go into a Q&A period. So I'm going to rock and roll, and I hope you, Lee, enjoy my new slide that I found today about being a global citizen. So why is this important? Well, it's not only about profit. I believe profit is extremely important, but it's not only about profit. It's also about purpose. And the final part of our big picture is the wealth movement. And we believe that the greatest challenge on the planet is the income gap or income inequality. I grew up in a country like South Africa, where you've got absolute poverty and absolute opulence all in one place. There's a great little resource if you want to go and click on it, which is the poverty clock. And I will open it up for you here quickly. Where's it gone? There it is. And you can actually see the people that are leaving the poverty clock. It's fascinating to me that more than 80% of people on this planet live on less than $2 a day. And I fundamentally believe that in our lifetime, we can solve that. So if you're all about profit, great. We've given you lots of ways to make money. But if you're about purpose as well, and where you tie together purpose and profit, I'm going to let Lee share what she shared last night, which was so interesting. And I'll do that once we finish here. Then you're going to get a 10x result. If you look at the top 1% in the world, they own more than 50% of the world's wealth. Depending on where you were born in the world, if it was America or Europe or Japan or Australia, you tend to have won the geography lottery of where you were born. Unfortunately for ladies, less than 10% are billionaires. I have heard stats that as low as 1% of the global assets are owned by ladies. And this is where the whole concept of women and wealth, which is another thing that we're going to be launching within the Wealth University, is so powerful and so important. And if you're a millennial, unfortunately, you were just born in the wrong time. All the stats are against you in terms of where the world is going. If Davos had taken place, and it took place in January, It's what the World Economic Forum is. It's where the wealthiest people from around the world come together, and they all talk about this grand problem. And the number one thing every year is income inequality. And this year it was, how do we create a fairer economy for everyone? And so when you look at property, we always say, well, the problem is that the 99% can't invest like the top 1%. They're stuck to in-country deals. There's massive barriers and hassles. Deals are extremely difficult, taking into account the tax, the compliance, and everything else. And I got a short video that helps hopefully work for you. Where's my video gone? Oh, why didn't my video play? Oh, okay. I'll play the video when I get to Q&A. It doesn't seem to be playing for some reason. But anyway, it's around the property investment process and why it's so difficult and why it should change. When you look at it, 49% of the world's wealth is held in property. I was asked to write an article today around where I see property investments in 10 years. It was quite interesting. I wrote it as what I call a future vision, which is where you go into the future and you look at everything that's happening today, and then you look backwards as to how it happened. And that's how I explained it. And 10 years is a long time. Take 10 years ago, look backwards 10 years ago, and look how much the world has changed. Half of you probably didn't even have a smartphone 10 years ago, if you're realistic. None of you knew what artificial intelligence was. Very few of you would have known what cryptocurrencies were. Probably a lot of you didn't even have online banking 10 years ago. And if you extrapolate that forward 10 years, it's really quite exciting in terms of where the world's going. Now, when you consider that only 12.9% of the world's population today has access to property, I wrote in my article that I believe it will be over 25% within 10 years. And then when you consider that of the current 12.5%, less than 1% of people retire wealthy in the Western world, I believe that's despicable. And we want to change that. And we want to help the 99% invest like the top 1%. And that's why webinars like tonight are so important, because we've got to have the education side from the Wealth University. We've got to have access to opportunities through Wealth Migrate where people can actually invest. We've got to have access to trusted partners through the directory. We've got to have people where they've got businesses within businesses ultimately being able to go out there to become global citizens and to share with others. Remember what I said about Zig Ziglar? You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And our vision is to make investing as simple as a swipe of a finger, and ultimately from $1. And we always say when it comes to $1, it won't change people's lives. They'll change their habits. And if we change their habits, we'll change their financial destiny. And this is a graph that was actually in the original business plan in 2010. And we were always going to start with the high net worth individuals, the professionals, and then we were going to evolve as the technology gets better. And ultimately, we were going to get down to $1 per person per investment. And that's what we call Wealth Create, which we haven't launched yet, but that's the future in terms of where we're going. So our social promise is to empower 1 billion people and solve the wealth gap. Hilda Lunderstedt wrote us this manifesto in 2014. Imagine a world where most of all people are literate, a world where education is par for the course, a world where women are treated as equals, a world where all people have access to investment opportunities. Imagine a world where 6 billion people on the planet who currently live in poverty can live a better life. Imagine that world. The wealth movement aims to create that world. And just a good little example of that is this young gentleman, Bongi. We met him in 2015. He came to the wealth movement event. He had the most industrious, incredible little character, and he wanted to go to a private school, and we crowdfunded the money. His mother is actually a police lady. His father is a security guard. We crowdfunded him. We put him into a private school. He's made so much progress over the last 3 years, representing not only his school, but equally his county or his province. And we continue to support him. And I always say to people, because they always go, well, how does it help just helping one person? And I wanted to finish with a story. And it's a story, if you've heard it before, I don't care. Just listen to it and listen to the meaning of it. It's about an old man and a young boy, and they're walking along a beach. And the old man keeps leaning down and picking up starfish and throwing them into the sea. And the young boy looks up confused, and he looks across the beach, and there are literally thousands of starfish, tens of thousands of starfish. And then he sees the old man lean down and pick up a starfish and throw it into the sea. So the young boy asks the old man, he says, sorry, Granddad, why are you doing this? It's pointless. You're never going to save all the starfish. And the old man bends down, he picks up a starfish, and he throws it into the sea. And he says, grandson, it mattered to that one. And everything we're talking about tonight is how can we add value to you? But more importantly, how can we have an abundant mindset by adding value to you, and by you adding value to others, we can all achieve the gross, massive, purposeful impact of solving the greatest challenge on the planet. And I leave you with this closing thought. What is the impact of your life going to be? What are you going to be remembered for? What is your purpose? What is your destiny? Are you going to be a personal service to one person and solve their problem? Are you going to, create an intimate user group? Are you going to create a company that becomes quite predictable? Are you going to build a team? Are you going to be a market leader? What about having a national impact? Are you going to make a big difference in a country? Or what about having a global impact? We've shared with you 3 opportunities tonight where you can get to decide the impact in your life. You can get to decide the meaning in your life. You can get to decide what you'll be remembered for. And I guarantee you that if you want to join us and be part of our journey, where putting smart investing in every single person's pocket is what we think about every single day, then you will have that opportunity to have whatever you want in your life by helping others get what they want in their life. Thank you. Lee, not bad timing, eh? 7 minutes and 59 seconds, 59 minutes. So at any minute, the electricity will be going out. But what I wanted to do was just to, if there were any questions or anything that I've missed out, Lee. I'm famous for missing stuff out, but is there anything important that you would like to add? Oh, and by the way, please give us your quote that you shared last night. It was amazing.
Okay, I'll start off with my quote. Simmy's will just go on about having purpose. So at Wealth Migrate and Wealth University, we are all about purpose. And so I found a really awesome quote by Peter Drucker, who is a management guru. And his quote was, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Then John O'Brien, who heads up purpose for Porter Novelli, took it to one step further, and he added, "But culture gets its appetite from purpose." So if you just think about that for a moment, culture eats strategy for breakfast, but culture gets its appetite from purpose. And really, everything just revolves around purpose. So what is your purpose? How are you going to translate that into your own life? But better than that, how are you going to translate it into the world? And with that, Scott turns into a horror movie, and he's the light in the darkness.
If anyone's seen the video I made in 2015, it's so embarrassing, but there's a picture of me with a candle. This is what being a global citizen is all about, is that even if you've got these economic shocks, that you don't have to worry too much. Sorry, Lee, I'm interrupting. I find it fascinating that in this country, the most effective and efficient thing is when the lights get switched off. It's always on time.
Here we go. It's the only thing you can really.
What you were saying around the culture and the purpose point is, I don't want to interrupt, so if you wouldn't mind repeating it, because it's so important.
It's just culture eats strategy for breakfast, but culture gets its appetite from purpose. So I just wanted to leave you with that. Just figure out what your purpose is. At Wealth Migrate and the Wealth University, our purpose is to help solve the wealth gap and to put smart investing into everybody's hands. And we really hope that you'll join us on that journey and make a difference to more than just yourself and your family, but make a bigger ripple out into the world.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's anything you can do to help, or even importantly, to give us feedback on what you think we should be doing, we're all ears. I love that saying as well, that in the 20th century, it was all about scarcity and competition. And in the 21st century, it's all about abundance and collaboration. And so, we're reaching out to the community. We're wanting to add value to the community. And by the same token, we also want to, we want feedback. We want to know how we can get better. So Kakiso is saying, yeah, I'm a South African and I recently relocated to the Netherlands and I'm in stitches seeing this. So I presume you're talking about me sitting with my little solar light that's on. My wife has actually switched the generator on and I don't know why my lights have not come back on. I might just go and switch my webcam off and switch my light on. So there we are. For you, Kagiso, I have specifically. You can see the one thing about South Africans is that they're extremely resilient, and taking on probably the biggest challenge on the planet is no small task. But when you come from Africa, you've got to be resilient. So we have no electricity now, but I have the UPS running the laptop and the Wi-Fi. I've got the generator running the lights, and we're back in action. So I want to know if anyone's got any comments, good, bad, or indifferent, around what they've heard tonight, or any questions, or anything that we can help with. Just to remind you, next week Tuesday we're launching the Wealth University. We're going to have a whole bunch of discounts and super great offerings to get going with that. And next Thursday we're going to be going much more into the business component of the business within a business, the financials, how it will work, what does it mean to you, etc., etc., etc. So that's next Tuesday and next Thursday. Same 5 p.m. GMT time, same time.
Yeah, and you can just head over to wealthuniversity.org to the events page, and the registration links are there for you to sign up for the webinar.
Yeah, so if I go back to that page, where is it now? Back in darkness. Oh, don't think about it. Anyway, we're still learning here. But yeah, what you're talking about, if you go to the Wealth University and just go to the events page here, you can see all the different events, and you can just go and register. And then you can also see, Lee's been working incredibly hard. We've got some amazing speakers coming up over the year, both within the inner circle and what I've already explained on the digital real estate mastermind. And you can actually see the different things that are coming up and what's, who the speakers are. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I'm so grateful that I get to, to talk to these people. Okay. Are there no questions, no comments? Everyone is either their lights have gone out, they've also got load shedding, and or they're bored to death, and or they're wild, overwhelmed. But yeah, I'd love to just know if there's anything else, and otherwise we'll call it an evening. As you can see, I need to go and figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the evening with no electricity. Although I am super chuffed that the UPS is working, Lee. We no longer have the power going off halfway through a webinar.
Voice from the darkness.
Yeah, I forgot you can not see me with this light on. I don't know why my lights went off, but anyway, it's all good.
Thank you, Kakito. We are also super excited about what we're building. So we're pleased that you're part of it.
And to people like Mark Honeysett and others, I'm fully aware that as we go more digital, that human interaction is as important, and certainly for the wealth partners. If you didn't hear last night, Michael, I don't know when, but certainly in May or June, we need to, after all the Easter holidays or whatever, we need to find an excuse to get back together and get some face-to-face get-togethers in terms of where we're at. Okay, I'm going to give it another 30 seconds. If there's no one else that wants to do it, I'm going to freeze my screen quickly. I want to find that little video quickly that I wanted to share with you. And where has it gone? Just around that 60-second video. I don't know why I've suddenly lost this video. Give me 2 seconds. while I'm looking for it, I will find it very quickly. Okay, I think I've got it yet. Let's try and see if I can get this to work. Oh man, what's going on? This video is like just disappeared on me. That's weird. It's very weird. Okay, let me try one more thing. If there are no questions, then I'll give up. All right, found it. Okay, let me share my screen again. And what I'd like to do is I think this will be a good way to finish off. So if no one else has any questions, then we can finish off with this little video. Don't forget to watch the ecosystem video that Leah shared with you. But here's the video for tonight. So on that note, I want to thank everyone that's turned out for the webinar. If you do watch the recording, I would love your feedback. Reach out to Lee or myself. And yeah, I think that's enough for this evening. So we will finish off and say thank you. Thanks for turning up. Deeply grateful for all of your time this evening. Good night. Good night, Lee.
Thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
for your
Have a good evening.